Crypto Aussie from Bitcoin Mastery, where we make all things crypto and Bitcoin simple and easy. We combine fundamental, technical, and macro to give you guys the skills you need to survive, to stay alive, and to make that cash. So where do we begin? I'm on Bitrex. There's a bit of blood here, as you can see. Bitcoin 24-hour high. I mean, it was knocking on 4.4, and then bam, it's back down here on that line that it's loving to hug. And then, you know, obviously the rest have followed. Poor old Neo, 5% down, 21 bucks. Crazy. And if we scroll up and just see if there's any green, which I think there is, okay. OMGs is loving the limelight up the top, the volume. OKCASH, cool. So maybe we'll check out OMG and OKCASH. ARC's up there too, BitShares. So let's go to the charts and see what's going on since yesterday. Okie doke. So we can see my nice little smiley face here, this inverted head and shoulders that I spoke about yesterday. I think it was here. And we had a nice pop, and it was on track to crack through that neckline and carry on to maybe get on top of the trend line. So if you guys don't know, with a head and shoulders or inverted head and shoulders, what you do is you get the neckline and you go to the high or the low, like that, and then you just basically grab that and take it back up to the neckline to get maybe a future target, which would be up here, so 4.7 if we're nice and bullish. So what happened? So we got here back to the neckline and we had a major sell-off. And if you check out the news and go on Twitter and see what these guys are talking about, you'll see that JP Morgan chump daddy Jaimie Diamond came out with some propaganda saying, you know, Bitcoin's fraud and all the rest of it, and banning his employees from trading Bitcoin, and just a whole lot of waffle that Max Kaiser talks about quite often on his channel about his best friend Jaimie Diamond, and just sort of coincided with the major sell-off, and you know we came all the way down to what, 4,050 and change, but have since rallied. And one thing I noticed, like this key level of significance of sort of 150, as you can see, that we've been grinding on. The price just loves it, just keeps coming back to it. I mean, we've got a lot of touches on that line since, you know, back here in August, all the way through. The price has come back and we've got a bounce there, broke through it in that first sell-off from that China FUD. Back through it, come back, touch it, break through it, come back up above it, touch it, and here we are again. So what's going to happen? Well, who knows? I mean, Jaimie Diamond shuts his mouth and China shut their mouths too. Maybe, you know, we might get a bit bullish and a bit of momentum and continue on with this, you know, inverted head and shoulders pattern and come back up here to this trend line. But from a bird's eye view, from a macro point of view, it just shows how fickle the market is to me. You know, anything anyone says, that butterfly or that moth in Jaimie Diamond's case flaps their wings and the market just, you know, reacts. Not a good sign, basically. So long story short, for me, I'm still looking for Bitcoin to fall back down to here, where, you know, I talked about that previously on the head and shoulders pattern. So I'll draw that with you for you guys here. So you've got one shoulder, head, another shoulder, yeah, and then we've got this neckline, got this high. Basically, grab that, bring it down, and it sort of coincides with a a fib as well. Let's get rid of this so I can scroll out. So if we take that high beginning, which is down here. So that'd be a 50% retracement, even a bit deeper. So, 61% retracement to the top of wave 1. We're looking at, 3,000 and change, which is healthy, like in the grand scheme of things for the market to retrace that much. I mean, if we're heading to 10,000, which I think we're going to do, if you're a believer in this revolutionary time that we're living in, stick it up the banks. But yeah, I mean, coming down to here is I think good long term anyway. Plus, hey, we can get it, cheap as chips, as they'd say in Australia. So moving on from Bitcoin, what I want to look at is okay doggy, and see what this thing is doing, because it's been running. Whew, look at that chart, crazy. So maybe if we put it into perspective and zoom out to the 6 hour and just try and put some waves on this thing. Wow, so that's pretty much to the moon. I'm not too sure what the fundamentals behind this parabolic spike are. What the news is. A friend of mine told me it's Bitcoin Cash's grandson or something. So I'll have to check it out, or get my my friend Crypto Kiwi to tell me what's up with it from a fundamental point of view. But if we just put some waves on it and see, so give us an impulse. So we'll start from here. We've got one. It looks like it retraced really nice, and I would give that a 3, because if we took that first one, it wouldn't meet the rules. So, oops, a 5, something like that. Let's just do that for the time being. But if we put a fib on that first impulse to give us a target for that 5th wave, so we take the top, we take the bottom. So that wave 2 retraced perfectly between the 50 and the 61, which is what you look for to buy some of that fear. And so it's overshot this fib, and it hasn't retraced that much. Like, it's only come down. We'll put a fib on that wave 3 just to see how much it's retraced, but that looks pretty bullish, and it looks like it's off and away again. So if we have a look at the next target, so it could be here, so 24,886 or 28,798. And with the markets the way they are, like, there's people looking to try and make money in these markets, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone's behind this thing. It does get up to here. So if we go back into the 1 hour, chart, and just put a fib on that wave 3 and see how much it's retraced, maybe to try and get an entry on this coin. So here's this wave 3 here, right? So if we go from the top here to the bottom, which would be probably there, we look, okay, so look, it touched that 31% retracement perfectly, that wick right there. So very bullish. Normally we look at the 50% or even, in between here, the 61 and the 50, to try and buy that retracement before it goes again. But as you can see, it's on its way again. Potentially could look to buy, down here somewhere, maybe on top of this cloud. It might land down here before it goes, maybe. So if I had a spare bit of cash and I wasn't worried about what Bitcoin was doing, maybe I'd look at buying this thing here, but I'm not going to. I'll wait for Bitcoin to show itself before I get into any more coins today. So OMG, real quick, have a look at OMG, see what OMG's done. Had a nice, look at that, pulse yesterday. If we zoom out, it was like consolidating in this triangle that we can see here. So if we just put some trend lines, some loose trend lines on this triangle, something like that. And basically it was just making that nice little shape that everyone likes, like that, loosely, without getting too pedantic. Just coiling up, and yesterday, bam, it popped. What was that? What percentage was that? Like 20%, 21% or something yesterday. So a bit of volume came in, bam. But you know, with this pullback in Bitcoin, I mean, all the coins are affected, and OMG's no different. And it's come back down to the cloud, but it's rallying again. Fundamentally, I think this is a great coin. Awesome team, solving an awesome problem, great business idea, and the charts are looking good. I mean, the coin hasn't really suffered as much as other coins. Like if you look at it, it's just slowly really progressed up. There was one big dip there, which would have been an awesome buy. When China came out with that first news about the ICOs, and Bitcoin plummeted from just under 5,000. OMG followed it down into the cloud, but it just bounced straight back up, back on top of that trend line of where it stayed. So I mean, that's a healthy looking chart. Just hugging that trend line. So you can tell I like this coin. I don't know, maybe look to buy, like it's a wick down on this trend line. Again, buy the dips on that trend line. But once again, guys, this is just my opinion. We're just trying to simplify everything, condense it, one-stop shop, all things technical, fundamental, macro, to give you guys the skills, the tools, the tips, the tricks to make some cash in these markets. So trade safely, keep stacking that cash, that Bitcoin, making that cash.